expire in 2027. The commissioners whose terms have expired have voiced their intent to run again. That would be John Becker and Chris Kubichek. There were no other.
What did we decide?
I have three, she's got one.
Okay.
Fred's in here.
Okay. May I have your form?
Yeah, she's got it.
I get that.
Okay.
Let's tear it off the. Thank you. Okay.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good.
So at this time, I would invite everyone to fill out their Lisa Management District voter certificate, and I think Lisa will be coming around to collect them.
What is the attendance?
4.
2, 4, 5. 5 people. That's unusual for any.
You want?
Yeah, good, right.
Yes, please. What was that? You? Huh? You have somebody has to count them. Should I give him a grade?
I'll count them on.
We're just waiting on.
Did you get around?
I believe so. Did everybody give me their ballot?
No.
Well.
You will counting the votes.
I'll come back to you. Is that
Right,
okay?
sounds good.
You guys want 3 or 3? You gave me 4.
She's just doing it.
Where'd you get your 1 from?
I'm on this one.
She's on the east side of the road.
We only 3 LLCs, right?
No, her and I are both on the one LLC on the east side of the road.
Yeah, but your number of LLCs, you have 4 members and you have 3 LLCs, right?
Correct.
Yes, we don't need 3 votes on it.
Okay, so she can't vote, only I can vote.
Each LLC gets a vote.
Oh, okay, alright, disregard one of hers.
Or just so you guys know. if you're-
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, I'm an LLC and I have like 3, technically, there's 4 of us.
It doesn't matter how many owners there are.
Just
right?
one.
Just one vote per LLC.
So I could vote. I don't vote. But next time I'll vote.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
I didn't know the rules of that.
Mr. Chairman, I've tallied the votes. We have 10 total ballots, and names were checked for both, so 10 and 10 for Mr. Becker and Mr. Bishop.
Thank you. Here's the Mr. Becker and Mr. Kubichek have appointed each to an additional 3-year term. As long as it's very short. You can just please place yourself on mute.
statement. After reviewing the financial records of the Lakeview Management District in accordance with the audit procedure, I have confidence that the balance sheet correctly shows the strong financial condition of the Lakeview Management District. The income statement versus the budget is accurate, with the following exception and recommendation. The exception, the office newspaper budget exceeded only $30. Other, the only findings, you guys are all on the budget, and that's for 2023. Part of the thing is, we have to review any checks over the year. We have here that reviewed 5 checks that were non-budgetary disbursements over $2,500, and all 5 checks were for attorney fees. Cotton Linen, Hunky, reference check numbers 3359, 3386, 3399, 3417, and 3426. And those checks total $27,881.50. I verified that all 5 checks have 2 signatures on the checks. Recommendation, just to the board, just to review and adjust the budget and due to inflation. It's important. And so I have an observation that I noticed that the checking and money market accounts are with the same financial bank. If when fraud occurs and the bank accidentally freezes both accounts, this can take days to unravel the accounts. I suggest moving one account to a different bank. That's my point. Yep.
Are there any questions for the auditor?
This report was done on August 2nd, 2024. Good.
Case point is, if there is fraud, you lock down the bank.
You can't pay your employees.
For, a week.
It sucks. I had, at my workplace, our vendor, he was scrambling. They locked his personal and business account all at once, so it can happen. And we've had fraud recently. There's like people, 3 to 5 million people with hacking in accounts, so it's a thing that you should check into. So it's just an observation. Take it for what it's worth. Yep. Any more questions? Thank you again. Yep.
With that, we'll move to item 5, 2025 forward budget expenditures. $271,992, property tax levy $190,000.
5% less than 2024. Copy of budget is given by contract newly reelected Peter Jeff, treasurer at LBMD. Copy of budget will be posted in Spring Hall on the Lakeview District website.
Okay.
Discussion of budget.
Just brief for, the budget's available, so our taxes will go down again this year by 5%. And how we plan on spending that money for the year, the total administrative budget will be a 17% reduction from last year. It'll be 91,800. And how we get it down is we're forecasting less attorney fees than we've had in the previous 2 years. The plant harvesting and control, roughly $84,000, is a 10% increase from last year. And the drivers there are, as everybody knows now, insurance has been going up a lot, and then cost of operating equipment is going up. And then total weed and water control, 21,000, and that's a 13% increase in the budget, and that's just related to cost to analyzing the various water samples we take over here. We've had a capital purchase line item in our budget for 4 years, 5 years, looking to buy a new dump truck. We had some significant expenses, say 6 years ago. and it was like $6,000, and we said, well, maybe we ought to look at a new truck. We put it in the budget, we hate spending money. So we're gonna squeeze this thing as long as we can, and we think we're gonna do it now, this winter. We'll see, but we have 75,000 for that. So the total expense, as Pat mentioned, is 271,293, which is a variance of $75,000. But we do have our reserve funds that we've been building up over the last several years, so we can easily do that. And the district continues to have no loans. We're not borrowing from anybody. We have kept our spending down and have put away money for, the rainy day and probably the dump truck this winter. So that's the budget for 25. We need to do that as voters. The line item says approved 2025.
So we need to approve that forward. So is there any discussion of the budget? Motion approved. Is there a second? Second. All in favor of the budget as submitted by the treasurer? Aye. Any opposed? The budget is approved. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Now we could continue with you.
Yes.
Treasurer's report.
So our current year financial reports, and this is reconciled as of yesterday. Our total income for the year, our budget was $204,000. We're currently at $203,224. Well, it'll get bigger because we earn interest on the money we have put away, so we will have more income than forecasted. A year ago, we didn't know the interest rate this year. Our administrative expenses are running at a 71% of a paced forecast budget. We had anticipated to spend so much at this point in the year based on the last 6 years of data, and we're 70% of that. So we're spending less on administrative than we forecasted. Plant harvesting and control are also at 71% of budget spending, forecasted spending, not annual spending. Weed and water control is exactly where we forecasted to be, and then there's been no capital purchase on the truck. So our total expenses, our year-to-date expenses at this point in August, we have 2-3 months more of expenses coming in. We're currently at $106,899 year-to-date. So we continue to spend less. The auditor recommend that we, forecast for inflation, but we continue to find ways to save money so that we're able to keep our request taxes down on property owners.
Sounds like a favorable report. Are there any questions for the treasurer? Hearing no questions, if you don't have it in the line item to approve the treasurer's report, I'm not sure you need to approve the report.
No.
Oh, no, I think we're at the meeting. I was asked for status reports on 4 properties. The first is the hotel at W1341 Beach Road. After what I think was a relatively long litigation to attempt to prevent the grant of the conditional use permit, it's determined that there were no further issues to challenge, and a conditional use permit has been issued to the property owner to construct the hotel. I think as just about everybody knows, the property is for sale for $5.2 million. The promotional pictures appear to be directed to condo units. Although the hotel conditional use is listed in, as well as other potential conditional uses are listed with the packet that's available for download. to the prior owner, the area to be dredged. I think it's kind of important to note that the district's not opposed to all dredging. The area to be dredged on the permit was in the neighbor's riparian rights, and was also in a DNR designated highly sensitive area, which is of importance to the district. The DNR, somewhat unbelievably, granted the dredging permit and put the district in the position of actually opposing the DNR. I really want to credit John Becker for help bringing both the town of East Troy to help get a pure permit, the DNR coming to the table, the new property owner, to get together a plan that would get a pier that would reach deeper water. People that know the area know that there's several long piers in that area, that would avoid dredging in the environmentally sensitive area. So I think after much discussion, that issue has been resolved, the pure permit was granted, and there's no longer any ongoing, matter there, so. That's the end of that. I hear, with respect to the Double Beach property, that my information is out of date. What I was gonna say is the property remains listed for sale, with Deborah Dunn at $495,000, and, I've spoken with a huge amount of people who would really prefer to see a restaurant there. But now I hear that there's an accepted offer. Is that just a rumor? Anybody know?
I think it's sold.
It's
The
sold.
sign says,
The
except
sign says accepted offer. So that's an update, for me. The last, update is, an applicant, West Rod Cottage Industries LLC, also known as the Stoss property at Stringer's Bridge, seeks to rezone, property from C4 to C2. Procedurally, his application for rezoning was denied by the planning commission. It went up before the town board. Mr. Stoss raised a new issue before the town board. That is if the votes were grandfathered, and he showed a picture of votes that was taken, or allegedly taken on August 1st of 2011, showing some additional votes. I don't believe that that issue is relevant, and it will be back before the planning commission on September the 4th. The district still remains opposed to rezoning the property to C2. This is a highly sensitive environmental area. We've had assistance from Jennifer Thorsch of the Lakeview, did I get that right? Yes, thank you. With the Lakeview Protective Association, Protective and Improvement Association, thank you. Maybe you got it right that time. And Bob Nada, who both testified, in support of the district's position. The district will remain opposed, to that, rezoning application for the time being. This is of course not to say that you can't rent boats. It is legal to rent boats as long as it takes them in and out using the landing, just like everybody else has to. I think with that, I am at, unless there are any questions for me, I am at the end of my report. Then I will move to, item 8 on the agenda, Commissioner Diamond, newly appointed Commissioner Diamond.
Thank you, Stu, for supplying the, information. We're still learning.
Fantastic.
Harvesting will continue as well as plant pickup, through the end of September, which is pretty normal. The current harvesting, the total loads are exceeding last year. I think you kind of understand why. The rain, et cetera. So the plant growth is particularly heavy at the beginning of the season, has tapered off to more moderate and manageable now. Thanks to Doug, being out there and things in order. The hot spots are still hot spots, generating additional, work for Doug. far as maintenance, minimal maintenance, primarily to the harvester, some parts and pieces. And I think thanks to Doug and Stu, they do all that work pretty much on their own, saving us a lot of money versus hiring people to come in and do it, which, you know, get hourly rates and part markups. So, you know, we have to tip our hat to those two for the great work. There was a Yamaha outboard purchase for the John boat, and everything is working as expected, so, the purchase is successful. And with all the rain, Stu had to, remove one set of boards twice, to adjust the high water levels for 3 days each, and has since pretty much maintained status quo on water level. Any questions?
I would just recommend if they're doing some volunteer work, maybe a gift card for the guys that are doing extra work. That's all I would recommend. So,
Good idea.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Buy me a drink, you.
We just have to cover these.
correct, that's about,
There you go.
there you go. Even better.
I thought it was interesting that, typical annual cycle is 3 trips around the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Might be interesting for people.
Right. I think that would be 4. I think the first round, we kind of jumped around to the hot spots because we were getting lots of calls from, you know, behind the Dunn Farm, behind the bench, West Bay, Rhode Island, areas like that. We were really calling earlier than usual, so we jumped there. Camp Edwards is included, and then certainly another cycle.
Yeah, I think it's important too that, I know Doug pays close attention to that because, you know, those areas grow fast and then stuff starts floating and you have extra seed going on. And before you know it, it's breaking off and migrating in other areas, so keeping it under control, I think makes a huge difference.
Any additional questions, comments for Commissioner Bryan? Hearing none. John, you are still with us, you are up.
The USGS is continuing with their program of settling the lake in 3 locations, and the water quality continues to be good, and it's been that way for quite a while. We've monitored the groundwater elevations at 2 locations near the well number 7, and which is special wells were constructed there. When the well is in operation, that is, well 7 is operation, the groundwater levels drop as would be expected, and resulting in
is an irreversible process. Once they're here, we cannot get rid of them. So Lake Geneva is now stuck with water mussels forever. We really need to take a look now at what we can do to prevent that from happening here. That is going to be very much a game changer for our water quality. Yes, Tom.
I also want to mention that Big Cedar Lake, which is a lake very similar to Lake Beulah, very much in structure in the way that water feeds in and out of it. And they also had algae blooms early this season. They contributed to multiple factors. One is that, again, there wasn't enough snow cover and they had very little ice like we had. And a lot of the plants survived and started growing much earlier. They also monitor, they have 3 monitors where they're continuously monitoring the temperature of the lake in 3 different locations. And this year, the water got the warmest it has ever gotten on record, and it warmed up much faster. Again, they believe because of the fact of the lack of ice. And then of course, they're also contributing part of it to the wake boats as well, destroying the vegetation on the bottom, which is completely changing the aquatic life that they're seeing in that lake.
Thank you.
The algae is, it happens all over the place and every year, and that's somewhat predictable and understandable. The mussel situation is not. And one thing we could do is shut down the entrance from off-lake wakeboard boats. Their tanks, they cannot flush their tanks completely, so they can be used in Lake Michigan and other lakes, and then come here and then contaminate our water. There's no precaution at all being taken into account in our present launch. And one thing would be to put a ban on off-lake wakeboard boats, or at least boats with ballast tanks on them. I think they have to consider something like that. I mean, there are other problems with wakeboard boats, but that could be a major one. There is a law on that, and the law is being ignored for the most part.
Yeah, it's not just wakeboard boats, but, fishing boats,
Yeah,
what are those called?
Live wells.
Thank you.
Well,
but it's funny, the DNR does a lot of activity monitoring the fishing boats and their, live tanks, and they don't touch the wakeboard boats. Up to the DNR.
We also have IO boats, and there's water
Yep.
in the hull.
Well, the
Just
same,
flush the thing and there you go.
same with the inboard, my boat's got how many gallons of water?
That was in your inspection.
So I'd like to comment on that. So in theory, that sounds really good. The state of Wisconsin would not allow for that kind of a ruling just because of the common law rules that we have in place for all lakes in Wisconsin. The lakes are owned by all the people. And if you say that you're going to shut off a certain group from being able to use that lake, you're going up against the state.
I think the only way to do it would be to say, every single boat that enters this water has the potential to carry a aquatic mussel, which should be all out. It needs to be shut down until we can figure out that monitoring these. Otherwise, if we don't have aquatic mussels already, we will have them right.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong too, I think the town can create a separate ordinance.
The town can do it.
They can, but they can't say people who live off the lake have one rule and the people who live on the lake have another rule.
On an
You cannot
emergency
negotiate.
basis. So, Mr. Stops.
Quick question. What the town could do if they wanted to is they could impose a overbearing program where when you come to the boat launch, if you wanna put a boat on that's got ballast tanks in it, or that they have to be proven that they're dry and empty before you can come on. And if you make it hideous enough, the wakeboarders won't come to this lake.
That would require certification, because I looked into it, and you can empty on your own, however,
Yeah, make them do that, then they won't come here,
Yeah, it's a requirement. No tag, don't float.
right? That way you don't know what's in those tanks, and if they have something in, they're not letting them in.
Right.
So,
That
this
was
is
the way I
definitely not on the agenda. I've sidetracked my own meeting.
I think there is a program for that, it's called Clean Boats and Waters, and most other lakes are doing, we did do it for a short amount of time, but it requires a whole other group to hire and staff, particularly on weekends.
And that's to be educational, to educate people why it's important for them.
Yeah, and they do also check trailers for aquatic hitchhikers, and make sure people are emptying their live wells, valves, et cetera.
Well, I can raise that from the town. Reconsider.
I think you should be individually, I don't know what you have down on this board, so, it's definitely not on the agenda. I guess, with that, I have the next agenda item. In our last couple of meetings, we had talked about combining newsletters with the Wakefield Constructive Tank Improvement Association. This board, is in favor of doing that if that's, acceptable to the Protective Improvement Association, which I expect to hear from in the next, segment. So why don't I just invite Tom, and move to agenda item 11.
Okay, well, just to address that one up front, we welcome, the partnership of putting out a joint letter. It not only shows that we're working together on issues of the lake, but it's more cost effective for everybody to do that. So Tom Bernhardt, who's the person who's the editor and manages our newsletter, I know has been in touch with your organization. Unfortunately, you will not be able to put anything into the fall, letter because it's going out as we speak. It's going to be out here the next day or two. But we could certainly work towards having the spring meeting be the first one that